Greetings everybody, I'm Nick D Virgilio and today's video is on how to set up a drum rack. Drum racks get a bum rap and I don't know why. They're really super cool and very convenient. Okay, they might be a little heavier than the latest flat-based hardware that weighs ounces rather than pounds, but there are a ton of options for racks that can be lightweight and easy to set up, or you can go hog wild and build something like Ray Luzier of Korn uses every night on tour. A kit like his, you could only build with a rack. Racks take away all the tripods that come with typical cymbal stands, leaving you with a lot more floor space. It looks clean and slick. You can set up cymbals and toms literally anywhere around you. The options are endless. Today we're going to go through the basics and build something easy. I was thinking we could build something like Todd Zuckerman from Styx uses every night on tour, but I think that would make this video very long. Check out his kit. It is awesome, and he has the ability to place a lot of instruments all around him. It would take so many cymbal stands and tom mounts to accomplish the same thing. Back in 2019, I went on tour with my band Big Big Train, and the good folks at Ludwig and Gibraltar helped me put together a very cool setup. Everything's set up low to the ground and on either side of the kick drum. It was very stealthy and sleek looking, but it was also really easy to set up and tear down every night. The main players in the world of racks are Gibraltar, Pearl, DW with a little bit of PDP thrown in, DW owns PDP, and Yamaha. You can purchase a basic rack or every piece individually and create your own masterpiece, or you can check out some of the very cool bundles we have here at Sweetwater. In fact, we have a massive selection of parts for your rack. Sweetwater is definitely the place to go for your basic or gargantuan rack build. There are differences in racks. For instance, Pearl's Icon rack, the main bars that you attach the clamps to, are square. The bars on Yamaha's Hex rack are just that, hexagonal, while Gibraltar and DW's racks have round bars. You have to get the appropriate clamps for whatever rack you have. That said, I can't say I've ever seen anybody mixing up brands while building a rack. They stay with one brand throughout the build. And don't get me wrong, regular cymbal stands are great and many drummers prefer them over racks. I use regular cymbal stands all the time because I can chuck them in a hardware bag and just go. But you can totally do the same thing with a rack. You can build something small and compact. It all comes down to your imagination and what you want to achieve. If it's ease of use you're after or an amazing, eye-catching, crazy cool look that will make people go, wow, it's definitely achievable with a drum rack. You've seen some examples of what the pros do. Now let's take a few minutes and turn this kit I'm sitting behind into this kit. All right, I have a lot of Gibraltar gear around me here, and I've been planning this video for a while, so I already worked out how I'm gonna build this rack for you because we'd be here all day long if I was building this really from scratch. It took me a while. I had a lot of loose parts that I used. It's one of the spoiling things of working here at Sweetwater. We get to play with all kinds of stuff, and the good folks at Gibraltar had a lot of gear around here for me to check out and to come up with something here. You could do this exact same thing. Now, of course, I could have built a very basic rack with a straight or curved bar in the front and curved bars on the side, but I thought I'd, spice it up a little bit, and I'm basing this whole rack around the Gibraltar docking station. That's this curved bar right here. What's cool about the docking station, the curved bar gives you options about how you place your toms and whatever else you want to have on the docking station, on the bars. I have the tom mount ready on the docking station here and a few other clamps that are going to hold the legs. But let me quickly tell you about the rest of the stuff I have. I'm going to hold 5 cymbals just like I had on the regular kit with the tripod stand. So I have 5 cymbal arms. I have 2 curved bars that are going to be the legs, 2 big feet for the long bars. I have a small foot that's going to hold the snare stand, the snare basket. Over here I have a legless Gibraltar hi-hat stand, which is awesome, really taking away all the tripods, leaving so much space on the ground. That's going to hook up to the left arm of the rack. I have a little table and a few other bells and whistles. Another thing I did, which is a good idea when you're building your rack for the first time and then you want to tear it down and set it up again at a venue or your house of worship or anything like that, take it on the road, label each piece of the rack gear so you know exactly what goes where when you get to your venue and you have to reset up the rack. Okay, let's get going. The first thing I want to do is set up the right and left side of the rack. Now these curved bars that I have are the exact same ones you would get if you're going to have them level to the ground. And they're very convenient, very easy to use, but I'm gonna do a little something different here today. So I just gotta loosen up this clamp. I tightened everything down to start with. Another very convenient feature on these Gibraltar systems is the memory locks. There's memory locks all around, so when I put this bar into the rack here, it's going to go only as far as it can. It's set, I just have to tighten it up and it's good. I'm going to make the curved bars curve down for a nice, stealthy, sleek look. So I got the foot here that's going to go at the bottom of this arm. You don't always have to have this thing straight up so the bars go straight up. You can take these clamps and angle them any way you want, and also remember, the feet move. So no matter what angle the bar is that is connected to the foot, just adjust the feet to make them flat to the ground. With that said, let's connect the bar. Put it in there, lock her in. Now I just turned the feet for you, so I don't have to adjust them back. Just like that, and just like that. There you go. Now, if it's moving slightly when you start, don't worry about that. Once you get everything connected, it's all going to seat to the ground and be nice and sturdy. Let's move on to the left side. This time, I'm going to attach the foot first. There we go. The memory lock is in its spot. I just need to tighten her down. I suggest when you first start tightening things down, you don't have to tighten them so tight that you can't loosen them up. Just get them holding snug, and then you can really tighten everything down once everything is in place. So right there, with just the docking station and the two arms curved down towards the ground, this is already a very unique looking rack setup. And it's pretty simple too. It's just two arms, 2 feet, and the docking station. So there's not a lot of gear here either. Next thing I want to do is put the kick drum in place because everything goes around that. So let's do that. Just going to squeeze it through here. Nice stealthy thing about the docking station is that it's not too big. It fits this 22-inch kick drum just perfectly. There's not a lot of space in between, so it looks really cool. Now that the kick drum is pretty set, I can adjust this later a little bit as well. We can move on to attaching the rest of the gear. The next thing I want to do is attach the snare stand. There's a couple different ways to do this. You could use a regular snare stand, of course, but Gibraltar makes these cool ways to attach the snare to the rack, again, getting rid of the tripod and having a really sturdy, solid place for your snare drum to sit. I have a straight bar right here. They also make curved bars that are meant for double bass players. The linkage that attaches the main pedal to the auxiliary, that linkage will go underneath the bar. I'm just using a single pedal today, so I didn't need the curved bar, but just know that in case you need it. So right down here, I have a clamp. Put the bar in like that. Lightly tighten it down. Here I have a small foot and a leg, and the snare basket is going to go here on top. Put it in. Again, the memory lock is there for me to put it right in the right spot. See now here, it's not too tight, but I could swing it out a little bit and swing it in, and that helps me get the snare stand, the snare basket, to the exact perfect place. Here I got the snare basket, a very nice Gibraltar piece. It's going to go right in here. Loosen the wing nut a little bit. Tighten her down. And pretty good. Now, I'll make some adjustments once I get the tom on and the floor tom here, but that's basically it. Next, I'm going to set up some long legs to attach some cymbal arms here on both sides. It's really coming together now, and 2 cymbal arms are going to go on my right and my left. Now I'm going to start attaching some of the cymbal boom arms. I have 3 on my right. Again, I numbered them earlier, so I know which one is 1, 2, and 3. Number 1 is right here. Loosen the clamp. And tighten her down. Cool. I'll make some adjustments to that in just a second. Number 2 is right here. Now this is a beast of a cymbal arm. It has the tube down at the bottom, plus you have another tube right here on the top. So this can go really high. There's lots of options with Gibraltar gear. Any of the rack gear you buy, you can get lots of options for height, get low to the ground, really high up in the air. You can build cages. You can do so many things. Let me loosen this clamp right here real quick. Just like that. Tighten it, and I'm ready to rock with that one. And then number 3 goes here in the back. All right, let's do the same thing on the left. Now, just a few minutes ago, I mentioned that the rack will settle and really seat to the ground once you start getting everything connected to it. Right now, it is as solid as a rock because everything's really starting to come together. Now we're going to connect the legless hi-hat stand. This is so cool. And Gibraltar invented a very cool thing with this clamp. I want to show you it real quick here. I'm just going to loosen it up, get it out of the way. On the inside is a lug screw. You could take your tuning key here and it spins. What makes that so cool is that if you have this clamp on a curved bar, whether it's curved parallel to the ground or curved down like this, you can connect your cymbal stands or your hi-hat stand and have them be straight up and down because this clamp moves from the inside like that. All right, grab your hi-hat stand and connect it to the clamp. It's really that simple. I'm not going to tighten it down too much yet because I might have to adjust where the actual pedal is, the angle of the pedal once I get everything else connected. But for now, it's on the rack and I could put the rest of the drums on. Okay, the rack is built. That didn't really take that much time. If I wasn't explaining it to you, I could have done it a lot quicker, right? So once you get the hang of it, you have everything labeled, you know what goes where, you do it a few times, you can have this set up and torn down in no time. So now that the rack is built, let's put the drums on and we have a drum kit ready to rock. Okay, drums are over here. I'm gonna first grab the rack tom. And get it on there. Sort of loosely in place right now. I'm sure I'll make a little adjustments. Then floor tom. This is one piece that is not attached to the rack. So you have your regular floor tom legs. Before I attach the snare drum, put that on the basket, let me place the kick drum pedal on the kick drum because you need a kick drum pedal to play the kick drum. Attach it there, and we are good to go. I'm still here. All right, now it's time for the snare drum. Open up the basket, get it on. This Gibraltar snare drum basket is really nice because it has rubber holders that really like latch on to the bottom of the snare drum. Not too tightly, it's not going to choke the drum, but it's really a sturdy way to place your snare drum. Now with the snare drum connected like this, there's a couple different ways to adjust it. Again, you can slide it from the main bar to the left or to the right, just like that. Also, you can adjust it from where it's connected in the tube, backwards and forwards, get it where you want, adjust the angle, and you're good to go. It's pretty close right now. Once I sit down behind the kit, I'll make the final adjustments. All right, next thing I want to do is get all the boom arms from the cymbal stands out, and then we can attach the cymbals. Let's start there. Now, all of the cymbal boom arms also have memory lock, so if you really want to get down and dirty, you can memory lock every boom arm as well. So once you take it out and then get it at its right angle, the memory lock will lock it in place every time. I have a couple accessories here. I have a Gibraltar badge, if you want to use it. Looks good like right here, so you know what kind of rack you're using. That's pretty cool. I also have a table, and this is always a convenient thing to have. You could put some snacks, some drinks at your gig if you want, or some gear. If you have to have some gear like your drum key or a towel, that kind of stuff. I prefer to have a little bit of food, maybe a drink on here. But it attaches to the rack arm like everything else. Gibraltar does make drink holders that are mesh that can attach to anywhere on the rack and all kinds of other cool little accessories as well. Okay, now to save us a little bit of time, I'm going to put the cymbals on and I'll see you back here in just a second. See, wasn't that easy? Now the cymbals are on though, I got to make a few adjustments. First thing I want to do is sit down and see how everything is placed. It's looking pretty good. The snare drum needs a little bit of adjustment. So I can turn it like this. I can obviously change the angle with the wing nut down here, but I want to move it over to the left just a slight amount. So just gonna take my foot, I don't have it so tight yet connected to the docking station, so I'm just gonna push it over just slightly, just like that. It's really that easy. Then I adjust it here a little bit, tighten it down, right there and right there. Snare drum is in place and good to go. Hi-hat looks good. This crash cymbal's a little low, so let's make some adjustments. I'm gonna raise it up a tiny bit, get it in place. The angle looks good. Maybe just a tiny bit farther away from me. And then back up again. Rock and roll, looking good there. The ozone crash can come up a tiny bit. Everything's pretty low on this kit, but it looks good. Let's adjust this ride cymbal. Grab the wing nut there, just needs a little bit of a tilt. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I want to get under here and adjust the angle. There we go. Looking good, looking good. This needs a little adjustment right here. Adjust the angle of the cymbal. Maybe bring it out a little bit more. About the same height as the other crash. I like it that way, that looks good. Now on to the china. Needs a tiny bit of adjustment, but not too much. Fix the angle right here with this wing nut. Just that, get it where it needs to be. Again, using the memory locks that are on the boom arms here, if you do that, you don't have to make any adjustments. It'll all be ready for you once you set up again. There we go. Now, sitting behind the kit, everything looks really good. One thing I'm noticing here is that my snare drum is a little bit too low. So let me just raise it up a tiny bit. Grab the wing nut here at the bottom. Pull her up a little bit. There we go. Everything's set up and in place, and now is the time where you go around the rack and tighten every wing nut so when you sit down and you're ready to play your gig or your recording session, whatever you're gonna be doing, nothing is gonna move. So do that right now. And there you go. I hope you found it helpful on ways to build a drum rack. Now, I've built a very unique little drum rack here. You can do the exact same thing. We have a huge selection of drum parts from all the big brands that make rack gear. So call your Sweetwater sales engineer when you're ready to build a rack, and you can set up something unique to you. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'm Nick D Virgilio. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Click right here for more videos just like this one. Or go to sweetwater.com for all your music instrument, rack, and pro audio needs.